Good day everyone, I'm Alexa May Manuel, and on this video, I will be discussing Jose Rizal's deportation to Dapitan. We will know why he was deported and how did he spend his years of stay in Dapitan. But before I start, I would like to inform you that this video will be just me talking. No PowerPoint presentations inserted, so please listen carefully. And if you have questions or clarifications, you can send a private message to me on Messenger. Also, I will be having a quiz by the end of this video, so please listen carefully. Rizal was considered an enemy of the state even before he came back to the Philippines when he wrote his novels No Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo, which condemned the Catholic Church and the abusive deeds of Spanish friars. He arrived back in Manila on June 26, 1892. So kada atong pag-uli niya, ginabantayan na siyang maayo because he was considered a threat to the Spanish government. So, every balay nga iyang gisudlan was searched and every Filipino nga nakitaan nga kauban siya was suspected. But despite that, he still went on with his plan. He established a civic organization which was called La Liga Filipina on July 3, 1892. But only 4 days after that, July 7, 1892, Rizal was arrested by the Spanish authorities, and at the same day, the Governor-General Eulogio Despujol published Rizal's decree of deportation. These acts were held on 4 grounds. Number 1, for publishing anti-Catholic and anti-friar books and articles. Number 2, for having in possession a bundle of handbills entitled The Pobres Frailes, in which advocacies were in violation of the Spanish orders. Number 3, for dedicating his novel El Filibusterismo to the 3 traitors Gomburza, and for emphasizing on the novel's title page that the only salvation for the Philippines was the separation from the mother country or the Spain. Lastly, number 4, for simply criticizing the religion and aiming for its exclusion from the Filipino culture. So those were the reasons why Rizal was arrested and was a subject for deportation. Moving forward, let us now discuss what happened to Rizal in Dapitan and how did he spend over 4 years in Dapitan. Rizal arrived in Dapitan July 17, 1892, aboard on a ferry boat called Cebu. From that day until July 31, 1896, Dapitan became the bearer witness to one of the most fruitful periods of Rizal's life. Rizal saw his exile as an opportunity to serve the people or his fellow Filipinos. He became more focused on serving the people and the society through his civic works, medical practices, land development, and promotion of education. In Dapitan, Rizal came across Father Pablo Pastels, who he had a scholarly debate with regarding religion. His bitterness towards the injustice of the Spanish colonizers, especially the friars, was revealed on this debate. Father Pastels, on the other hand, tried to win Rizal back to faith. However, the debate ended inconclusively since the two stood really firm with their convictions. Neither of them were convinced of each other's ideas. So as I had mentioned, his exile in Dapitan was an opportunity for him to help his beloved Filipinos. Given the fact that Dapitan was just a small remote town in Zamboanga, in Mindanao, Rizal's intelligence and talents became a really great help to them. Rizal was not deprived of liberty even though he was in exile. In fact, He exercised his studied practices or fields freely while he was in Dapitan. The winning lotto ticket with Ricardo Carnicero and another local Spaniard became a great help for Rizal in starting his projects in Dapitan. He bought lands which he later developed. As a physician, he offered free medicine to the underprivileged people of Dapitan. He had a clinic which was an octagonal hut that is now called as Casa Redonda. As an engineer, he provided a good water system since he had observed that there wasn't any good water supply in the remote town. It is still preserved until now and is called Talisay Water System. As an educator, he established a school which was attended by 16 boys from prominent families. He taught them every subject that he knew. So, instead nga maningil siya og tuition from those boys, from those students, he insisted nga community works na lang ang bayad. So, ang katong murag bayad sa mga estudyante is nag-serve na lang po siya as help to the town of Dapitan. He had built huts that were used as a dormitory for his students, which is now called Casa Quadrada. As an agriculturist, he devoted time in planting important crops and fruit-bearing trees in the land that he personally acquired, which was initially 16 hectares but later developed or reached 70 hectares. As an inventor, he developed a wooden brick maker that can manufacture about 6,000 bricks a day. While he was still in Calamba, he also invented a special type of lighter that was made on the mechanism of compressed air called sulpukan, which he gave to his European friend Ferdinand Blumentritt as a gift. As an artist, he also had time to make a sculpture of his dog, Syria, which he called the Mother's Revenge. As a scientist, he made a bulk of researches in the fields of ethnography, archaeology, geology, anthropology, and geography. However, his greatest contribution to the scientific field was his discovery of 3 species in Dapitan. The Draco rizali, or a species of a flying lizard, Rhacophorus rizali, a tree frog, and Apogonia rizali, a flying beetle. Being a well-known physician, Rizal had patients from outside Dapitan or outside the Philippines. One of them was George Topher. Came with him was his adopted daughter, Josephine Bracken. Josephine was an Irish girl, which, as described by Wenceslao Retana, was slender, chestnut blonde, with blue eyes, dressed with elegant simplicity, and with an atmosphere of light. She became the love interest of Jose Rizal, which was then broken-hearted with the news of the death of his greatest love, Leonor Rivera. Josephine and Jose grew in love with each other and after 1 month decided to marry. However, Father Pedro Obac refused to marry them since the Bishop of Cebu did not grant him the permission to. Despite that, the couple still insisted to marry themselves in front of God. The spot where they exchanged vows is now called the Lover's Rock. It is still considered as a tourist spot in Dapitan. The history claims that Josephine and Rizal had a son who was born 1 month premature and only lived for 3 hours. Their son was named Francisco after Rizal's father and was buried in Dapitan. At midnight of July 31, 1896, Jose Rizal left Dapitan on board the steamer España, together with Narcisa, his sister, Josephine, Angelica, Narcisa's daughter, 3 nephews, and 6 of his students. Many were saddened as the adopted son of Dapitan left. Rizal lived in exile far away Dapitan, a remote town in Mindanao, a remote town in Mindanao, which was under the missionary jurisdiction of the Jesuits from 1892 to 1896. This 4-year interregnum in his life was tediously unexciting, but was abundantly fruitful with varied achievements. Sorry, excuse me. So, that was it. If naay dili clear sa inyo, pwede ra mo mobalik atong spot sa video. Or kung dili jud klaro, you can ask me through PM. So, I will be having now my quiz. Please listen carefully. I will only read the question twice. Okay. Number 1. When did Rizal establish the civic organization La Liga Filipina? Again, when did he establish the civic organization La Liga Filipina? Number 2. When was his decree of deportation published? It was the same day Rizal was arrested by the Spanish authorities. Again, when was his decree of deportation published? Number 3. The priest in Dapitan whom Rizal had a debate with regarding religion. The priest in Dapitan whom Rizal had a debate with regarding religion. Number 4. What was the special type of lighter that Rizal invented when he was still in Calamba? The special type of lighter that Rizal invented when he was still in Calamba. Number 5. What was the name of Rizal's sculpture of his dog Syria? What was the name of Rizal's sculpture of his dog Syria? Number 6. When was the last day of Rizal's exile in Dapitan? Again, when was the last day of Rizal's exile in Dapitan? Number 7. The replica of Jose Rizal's dormitory and workshop for his students is called blank. The replica of Jose Rizal's dormitory and workshop for his students is called the blank. Number 8. The priest who refused to marry Josephine and Jose because the bishop did not permit to do so. The priest who refused to marry Josephine and Jose because the bishop did not permit to do so. Number 9. The spot in Dapitan where Josephine and Jose exchanged their vows. The spot in Dapitan where Josephine and Jose exchanged vows. Number 10. The waterworks system that Rizal built is now called blank. The waterworks system that Rizal built is now called the blank. For 11 to 15, this is an essay, just a simple essay. For 11 to 15, given the attitude of Rizal towards Catholicism, do you think Rizal would be a good president of the Philippines? Why or why not? Again, given the attitude of Rizal towards Catholicism, do you think Rizal would be a good president of the Philippines? Why or why not? 16 to 20, As I have mentioned, one of the grounds of the deportation of Rizal was his emphasis on the title page of El Filibusterismo that the only salvation of the Philippines was the separation from the Spain or the mother country. Why do you think Rizal emphasized this idea? Again, as I have mentioned, one of the grounds of the deportation of Rizal was his emphasis on the title page of El Filibusterismo that the only salvation of the Philippines was the separation from the mother country. Why do you think Rizal emphasized this idea? So that was it. That was my report and my quiz. Please send a private message to me with your answers before 5 p.m. I think, or before 6 p.m. Thank you.